Welcome back, everyone, to yet another episode of Major Mason's Cooking. And today we are traveling around the world to South Korea because we're going to be making Budae Jjigae, which is Korean army stew. It was instrumental in the Korean War when North Korea and South Korea were at odds with each other. And today we're going to be using some gochujang. This is the first time I think I've ever used this, so that'll be very interesting how it gets incorporated. Spam. And we also got some hot dogs in the fridge we're going to have to get out, as well as some ramen noodles, a little bit of soy sauce, some chicken broth, and some green onions and shiitake mushrooms. Now we've scaled down this recipe a little bit because the one that I originally found online had several different types of mushrooms and a couple extra ingredients, including kimchi, which unfortunately I'm not able to have, so we're going to omit that, but we're going to act as if we threw it into the recipe today. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, the complete ingredients list to make Budae Jjigae, at least the scaled down version, is going to be 4 cups of chicken stock. Alright, we got that right here. 7 ounces of Spam, I got it over on the countertop there. And we're going to thinly slice that Spam. We don't want it too thick, we want it to cook just right. Because again, this is going to be a stew that it's going into. 3.5 ounces of Frankfurt sausages and or hot dogs. We have hot dogs, so we'll be using those. And we'll be going a little bit beyond the 3.5 ounces, just so we can use the whole pack. 3.5 ounces of shiitake mushrooms. A half cup of aged kimchi. 3.9 ounces of instant ramen noodles. And we got that right here. 30 grams or 1 ounce equivalent of green onions. We got those in the fridge, we'll get those out. 1 slice of cheese. This can be your typical American cheese, whether it's white American cheese or orange, doesn't matter. And then for the sauce part of this equation, we'll be needing 2 tablespoons of Korean chili flakes, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, half a tablespoon of sugar, and half a tablespoon of Korean chili paste. And that is the gochujang that we have. So this will be done in 3 simple steps, guys. Step 1, we're going to assemble the main ingredients in a shallow pot except for the ramen noodles, the green onions, and the cheese slice. Then step 2, we're going to add our sauce into the shallow pot, and we're going to bring it to a boil on kind of a medium to high heat. Alright, and then step 3 is where we're going to add in the remaining ingredients on top of the pot, and we're going to continue boiling that until the noodles are basically kind of nice and soft, how you'd expect them to be. And that's really going to be our main indicator to make sure that everything else is done correctly. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. So let's go ahead and start off with just adding our base in. That's going to be the 4 cups of chicken stock. We just have the College Inn brand. They usually serve us pretty well. Alright, next we're going to go ahead and add in our shiitake mushrooms. These are just the store brand ones, but they usually serve me pretty well. So let's go ahead and add these in. Next we're going to add in our 1 tablespoon of gochujang. And now we'll do our 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. Now we're going to do our 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. And lastly, we're just going to wrap up the sauce portion with half a tablespoon of sugar. Alright guys, and once you have all of your ingredients in there, you're going to want to go ahead and just give it a light mix. Again, this is just the first part, you know, with the soup part, the broth, if you want to call it that. Just give it a good mix. Really get that minced garlic, that gochujang, and the chicken broth. Get it all mixed together. It should look something like this. It should have a nice kind of darker brown, almost reddish color, depending on how much gochujang you added. And again, I added the shiitake mushrooms a little bit earlier on, so that way they can just kind of soak for a little bit. But let's go ahead and add the rest of our ingredients. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and add in our Spam now. Now, while the recipe does call for 7 ounces, I'm just going to go ahead and add the full 12 ounces of this, just because I want to make it a little bit heartier. So let's go ahead and do that now. Yeah, basically kind of that thickness. No thicker than that, alright? Alright, there we go, guys. We got our Spam all cut up. And I'm thinking we go ahead, we kind of do a 50-50, so we'll put half of the Spam on one side and half on the other. So let's go ahead and do that now. Now we're going to go ahead and cut up our hot dogs. We're just going to kind of cut these into basically 1/2 inch at most size pieces here. Basically about that size should do the trick. Let's go ahead and put in our hot dogs. Again, I'm thinking we do about a 50-50 split here. Alright guys, now that we have all the main ingredients in, with the only exception being, of course, the slice of cheese, the green onions, and the ramen noodles, we're going to go ahead and start this up here. So again, we're looking for probably about a 6 or a 7 to get this going here. We just want to get that boil. Alright, once we get the boil going, then we're going to go ahead and put the remaining 3 ingredients in. And we're also going to go ahead and cover this with a lid, especially when we go to put the ramen noodles in. We really want to make sure they get steamed nicely. And while our Budae Jjigae is starting to come to a boil, we're going to go ahead and chop up our green onions here. Alright guys? Alright guys, check that out. Our stew is now coming to a very nice boil. So we're going to go ahead and turn that sucker down there. We'll do about a 5 for now. And this is where our freshly chopped green onions and our 2 packages of ramen noodles are going to come into play. And we'll also throw in that slice of cheese on top. So let's go ahead and finish it up. And since we opted in for 2 packages of ramen, even though the original recipe calls for just 3.5 ounces, we're actually going to let it kind of cook down a little bit here. And then once the noodles soften up, we're going to go ahead and lay our single piece of American cheese on top. Alright guys, as you can see, we've added in our slice of cheese now that the ramen noodles have cooked down a little bit and softened up nicely. So yeah, in a little bit here, we're going to go ahead and serve this up. I'll tell you guys how it went. Alright guys, and there it is. There's our completed Budae Jjigae. You can see our shiitake mushrooms, along with our green onions, our hot dog slices. You can even see a little bit of the Spam hiding in there, along with our ramen noodles. Yeah, a very fragrant recipe and very dynamic with its flavors. Highly recommend. It turned out amazing. And that gochujang really did wonders for the flavor as well. And as always, I will go ahead and post the ingredients as well as the directions on how to make this Budae Jjigae. Alright guys, well, this is Major Mason signing off. Peace.